Live from the Student Union on campus, this is Gold Mine Live. Your weekly all-access pass inside Charlotte Athletics is brought to you by Ortho Carolina. Proud to present the 2018 Charlotte 49ers football season. Bojangles, it's bow time. Harris Teeter, where 49ers fans shop for groceries. University Eye Associates. Excellence is eye care. And by Wells Fargo. Charlotte 49er fans, show your pride with a customized Wells Fargo debit card. Stop by your nearest Wells Fargo or visit Wells Fargo Car Design Studio online to learn more. Now, here's your host, the voice of the 49ers, Matt Swearad.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Gold Mine Live, coming to you today live from Jerry Richardson Stadium. We're in the press box here today with Al Wallace and head coach Brad Lambert. I'm Matt Swearad. And, Coach, school's closed today, so we're going to move the show here to the press box for the second time this season. And congratulations on a fantastic win on Thursday afternoon.
Yeah, Thursday now. We appreciate it. It's good to be back here in the press box. Campus is a little closed down, so had to adjust. But it's been a little chaotic since last week with school and practice and getting the team ready and then changing the game. So everybody's having to adjust a little bit, but it's worked out okay. You know,
we didn't get a lot of bad damage around this area. There's some flooding going on right now, of course, but on the East Coast, it's been really tough, and that's going to be going on for a long time. Hopefully, everyone over there is going to be staying safe, and the relief effort, certainly gets up going fast because, it was a football game. We played it early, but there was reasons why we played it early.
Yeah, you just feel bad for everybody over on the eastern part of the state and in South Carolina because there's so much water involved with this storm. We got a lot of rain here. I know down in Union County we got a bunch as well, but nothing like they got on the coast. And so, thoughts and prayers go out to those people as they try to rebuild now and they try to get back in. It's all this coming and it build up and then it's here, and now all of a sudden people got to figure out how they're going to deal with it for the next month. It's just it's a lot to have to take in, but we did have to adjust here as well, and we got a lot of rain here Saturday, Sunday, and the wind, and I know in Matthews we had some trees down and things like that, so kind of affected us as well.
On the football side, when you play on Thursday afternoon, it gives you some extra time to get healthy, extra time to prepare for your next game, which is our first road game going on the road to UMASS this week. So the weather this week is going to be nice to get back outside for you guys and have a full week of work.
Yeah, I think we'll be okay today. We had to call everything off this weekend. Saturday and Sunday we didn't do anything. We met on Friday. We got on the field Friday and did kind of our normal Sunday schedule. We got on the field, did that, but then Saturday, Sunday, we just had to, shut her down, and then, took Sunday off as our official day off, and then we'll go back out and work today, have a good week of practice, and got to play a really good UMass team as we go on the road for the first time.
After a big win like that, Coach, is it important to get back when you're kind of rolling like that? Everybody has that good feeling inside.
Yeah, I think it's important, for us to get back in the video room on Friday, because it's never as good as you think it is, and it's never as bad as you think it is. So it was important to get in and see the video, let the guys see the game, get it out of their system, make the corrections. There are still corrections to be made, and we got to be better tacklers, things like that in certain situations. So it was important to get in the video room, watch the video, and then get back out on the field. So it's always good to get right back on it, so we got that game over with so they could kind of move on to the next one.
What was it like after the game in the locker room? You guys get your first conference win and your first attempt this season, plus beating a team, Old Dominion, that, like Marshall, the closest two schools to Charlotte in Conference USA. It must have been a very, very happy post-game locker room.
Yeah, it was. Guys were really excited, the coaches, the players. Everybody did a nice job, and they were really excited after the game. And that was a big game for us because we hadn't beaten them. We'd been close a couple times, but we hadn't gotten over the top with Old Dominion. So it was important and a lot of fun to finally beat them, and the guys really celebrated in the locker room, so it was good. But hats off to our staff and our kids. They really did a nice job preparing and playing hard, and good things happen to you. That gives you an opportunity to be successful on Saturday. So I was really proud of everybody, the way they approached the shortened week and had to adjust, and was really pleased with everybody.
We'll talk a lot about this game, the win against Old Dominion, but we thought one of the key points in the win was You come out of halftime, they score, take the lead, but you answer right away. Come right back down, grab the lead back, and never give it back.
Yeah, I think that was important because we came out of the half and we didn't play really well on that drive defensively, and they hit us on some balls, and then our offense just responded right away, and I've been really proud of them for doing that. They've converted third downs and kept drives alive, and then we got to score. So that was a critical drive for us.
Coach, what are you continuing to learn about this football team dealing with that type of adversity? Another turnover, and they come out and respond and make plays.
Yeah, I think it's a confident group, and they're a close group. So I think that's the important thing is, they just kind of hanging in there together. They've been really close. It's been a big emphasis since January, and now I think you get to watch them respond in games, because every game's going to have adversity in it. There's not one that you play that doesn't have a little adversity, whether it's a turnover or a lost yardage play or giving up a big play. So how you respond to those is critical, and we try to make a big deal of that with our guys. But I thought they handled it really well after they scored and went up, and because it would have been easy to get down and here we go against ODU, but our guys didn't do that. They just came back out there and they just taking it one play at a time and try to go score this ball.
One thing we've taken from the first 3 weeks, your offense has been able to establish some drives, and you've had in each of the 3 games 3 drives that have been 10 plays or more, which has helped you also in the top possession, being pretty positive so far through 3 games.
Yeah, it's critical. Time of possession, keeping drives alive. We talked a lot about that in the offseason, and third down's a big piece of that. You can make first downs on first or second down, but I think we've put ourselves in a pretty good position on third down when we get to it. It's not 3rd and 20 or 3rd and 15. They're third and mediums and manageable down and distance, so you can keep the drive alive, and I think that's real critical, and they've done a really nice job of that through the first 3 games, just getting some long drives and sustaining drives, and that keeps our defense, off the field as well.
Coach, we talked about Chris Reynolds being a competitor and wanting to throw that ball at all costs. We saw him kind of make a lot better decisions this week. Talk to us about his progression.
Yeah, I think Shane got with him pretty good last week, because you got to make good decisions with the ball, and he had a couple nice scrambles and then made some nice throws on the move. We tried to get the ball out of his hand a little quicker against Old Dominion, and we tried to move the pocket some against Old Dominion. We didn't want to just sit back there and try to block those guys, pass protect them, the whole game. So we tried to move the pocket, and I think he did a good job of handling that, getting the ball out of his hand, and made some pretty good decisions. I think he's getting better. Each game he should get a little bit better as the game will slow down for him a little bit, but he played pretty good, I thought.
Also coming out of the game using multiple receivers, you got Warpay Copa catching 9 balls. Victor Tucker caught 7 balls. Tucker's been one of his favorite targets so far, but it was nice to see Warpay kind of have a good game too.
Yeah, no doubt. And that was part of the plan, to get the ball out of his hand. We got to utilize everybody, and whether it's Chris Phillips or Warpay or Vic, we tried to, on the 4th down play, try to get it to Mark, down there in the end zone when I went for it on 4th down. But, trying to get all those guys involved, and I think using that style of trying to get it out of his hands, he had to, spread the ball around.
Also the tight ends too. Phillips, couple of balls, went to him a 3rd time as well. So using a multiple wide receiver tight end attack too.
Yeah, no question. You got to get all those guys involved, and then our running backs. I think we had a couple of catches by our running backs out of the backfield, and you got to keep everybody involved when you're trying to get the ball out of his hands. You're putting, some guys out. We had to chip the defensive end, so we had that protection in. Try to slow their ends down, so we had to keep tight ends and running backs involved in the protection piece of it as well. But all those guys, when you're trying to get the ball out fast, they all got to get to a spot and get open. And then they played a little bit of 3 deep on us. They didn't blitz early in the game, kind of played a little more 3 deep on us. And I thought Chris did a pretty good job recognizing it and spreading the ball out.
O'Shane Zimenez is a pretty good defensive end, pretty good pass rusher. It was pretty much neutralized from our vantage point. Talk about the offensive line and how they handled that challenge.
I really thought our offensive line played good. I was really concerned about that going into the game, because not only O'Shane, but I thought across the board that's a pretty good defensive front. They're big and massive, especially on the inside. Tim Ward, there's a bevy of guys that can go out there and rush the passer against you. So I thought our offensive line played good. We tried to help them. Like I said, we had some chip stuff in where we would chip them before we went out, whether it's a running back or a tight end. And then like I said earlier, we tried to move the pocket some so we could keep them off balance and not just sit back there on a 5-7 step drop and let him go to work on us, because he did get a sack, I think, in the game. Beat somebody inside, and he's a fabulous player. He's a great kid too. I've gotten to know him, and through the Conference USA media days and different things. He's as fine a guy as you want to be around. So he was a handful for us. We knew we had to do some different things to neutralize him, because those guys can really change a game, and getting lost yardage plays for you, and you're trying to stay out of those lost yardage situations so you can keep the down and distance manageable and keep the ball moving.
Felt like you came out of the gates pretty good too to start the ball game.
Yeah, I thought the guys were ready. That was the unknown factor, because on Wednesday we went a full practice with shells, and like it's the first time ever the day before a game you're out there for an hour and a half, hour 45, and you're really trying to get a lot in, and it was hot. And, we had to go in the stadium. It was hot, and it was a full practice. So I wasn't sure, how they were going to fire coming out. And of course, ODU had the same issue. They had to ride a bus and had to practice over at Rocky River High School. So they had the same issues, and I thought our guys really handled it well. Came out of the locker room and did a nice job. And tribute to our crowd, like there were people here at the game. I didn't think there would be anybody here, and the student section showed up, and the band they came out. We had a good home crowd that helped us. So they ended up firing pretty good coming out of the locker room. I was really pleased with them.
Yeah, that's one thing you said too on the post game was how impressed you were with the crowd and the folks showing up, and some folks coming late from work, and it really was a nice atmosphere considering the fact that you moved it up to a 4:00 game on a Thursday.
Yeah, a lot of people still at work, Thursday at 4:00, and when you hadn't planned for it, those are hard games to make it to, and I was really pleased with the students and the crowd, the people that showed up, our fans, and then kind of a tribute to our administration for getting the word out, through social media and different things, for getting it out, and hey, this is when we're playing, come on out. And so it was all the way around. I thought it was a good operation. Took a lot of work by a lot of people, and just worked out well for us.
Before we take our first break, tell us about the blocked point after.
Yeah, Timmy's really, Glenn brought that from Oklahoma State. They really did a nice job at Oklahoma State over the years. Might have led the Big 12 in block kicks over his tenure there, and so Timmy finally got through there and got one. He did a nice job, so I was really proud of that. And that was ended up being a big play in the game. I mean, you never take those plays for granted, and it's the next play, so play it at full speed, and you worry about extra points all the time, and then you got to go full tilt on the defensive side every time, and you never know how it's going to affect the rest of the game, and it had a huge effect on the rest of the game.
We'll take a timeout, talk more about the game against Old Dominion, plus the game coming up this week. The Niners go on the road for the first time this season, going to Amherst, Massachusetts for a Saturday afternoon game against the University of Massachusetts Minutemen. That's a 3:30 kick on Saturday. Niners beat Old Dominion 28-25 this last Thursday. We'll come back with more of Gold Mine Live here from Richardson Stadium today on the campus. This is the Charlotte IMG Sports Network.
It's the final days of the Ford Summer Sales Event. There are only a few days left to take advantage of great deals like 0% financing for 60 months on the built Ford Tough F-150. So hurry and save big on Ford, America's best-selling brand.
During the final days of the Ford Summer Sales Event, get 0 for 60 plus $2,800 bonus cash on select F-150s at your Carolina Ford dealer.
Welcome back, everybody, here, Gold Mine Live. Not in the Student Union today. Campus is closed, so we're at the football stadium, Richardson Stadium, with Coach Brad Lambert and Al Wallace. I'm Matt Swarad. Our special guest coming up later on is going to be Aaron McAllister, one of the Niners' running backs. But one thing AMAC's been doing awfully well, too, Coach, is running back kicks for you. And he's had a couple so far in the first 3 weeks that have certainly led to really good offensive possessions.
Yeah, he's done a good job back there. We made a change after the first game. I wanted to give him an opportunity. He had done it for us last year as an up returner and had some success, had a big one against Kansas State out there. And so I was like, you know what, let's give him a chance to be the deep guy. And he's really responded well. We haven't fair caught many of them, which is kind of an interesting new rule. And, when you watch across college football, not a lot of them fair caught. I was a little bit surprised Old Dominion fair caught their first one, especially as good as he is. I was glad he did, but as good as he is. So, AMAC, we've been returning them if they're in the field of play, and if they go in the end zone, we let them go, and that's kind of the rule we've set up for them. And unless they get a real high one that they think is really hanging up there, then that we tell them to fair catch it. But AMAC's really responded well, and it's a chance for him to one more opportunity to impact the game.
Coach, is that the decision making? If it's in the field, you take it. If it's in the end zone, let it go.
That's the rule we set up for him. Put your heels on the goal line, and if you got to, move forward to catch it, go ahead and take it. If it's over your head, let it go. So he let a few of them go, and we don't even field it. And then you always have to work on if they do hit a kind of a sky kick. Do you fair catch that one? And that's what we've told them to do. So if they feel like it's really hanging up there, go ahead and fair catch it. And so we'll just kind of continue with that and see how it goes.
Niners got the win against Old Dominion. Now Charlotte is 2-1, 1-0 in Conference USA. 28-25 was the final score. And, Coach, it was a field goal final score. Were you surprised? Well, first of all, they went for a two-point conversion twice, and both times the defense was ready, and you made the stop, and that was really a big part in the game.
Yeah, those are huge, because you make that decision. And, myself personally, I typically don't chase points until you have to toward the fourth quarter. I went for it. There with, I think, 6 minutes left in the third quarter, and I just said to myself, hey, it's basically is the fourth quarter. Let's go ahead and try to get this thing to a three-point game. But everybody has to do it a little bit different, and they decided to go, and we were fortunate and played well on defense and didn't let them in.
Didn't surprise you on that second one, too. They went kind of quick, and you made the play. And then, talk about on your side, Benny LeMay having that kind of back to just give the ball to and get those 2 or 3 yards.
Yeah, just spread him out and try to open it up and let him find his way in there and make 3 yards. I thought it was a really tough run on his part. Guys did a nice job up front, but kind of caught him off guard. Most time you're going to run some sort of motion pick play. That's typically what people do, or throw the ball, hit a slant, things like that. But we caught him a little bit and just ran the zone in there, and Benny did a nice job.
We talked to Benny after the game a little bit about the competition and the camaraderie between he and McAllister. Talk a little bit about how that competition helps both of them be their best.
Yeah, it really gives them an opportunity to stay fresh as much as anything, but they're just both really, really good people, and there's a reason that Benny was voted captain of this football team. The guys think a lot of him, and that's just kind of who he is. He's not an out front guy. He's a humble guy that shows up for work every day, and if you have a whole team full of those guys, you're going to be successful. And AMAC's very similar, and they get along extremely well, and so it's been a real good fit. They push each other, they help each other. They're not afraid to come out of a game when the other one, just let the other one go in. So if they do get winded or they need a break, they just come out. And it's been good. It's been a lot of fun to watch and be around. Those two guys really get along well.
You took a 1-point lead in the halftime at 13-12, and 2 field goals in the second quarter by Jonathan Cruz. He is 7 for 8 now in his first 3 games as a 49er. Won the Conference USA Special Teams Player of the Week award last week, and he came back and did it again last week.
He did. I'm really challenging him right now because you never know how a young guy's going to handle success. You don't know how they're going to handle failure, but success can be tough to handle as well. And so we've really challenged him, to stay focused and just one kick at a time. So really been talking to him a lot about that and the way he handles practice and his preparation. And he really did a nice job because we didn't kick a lot of balls last week on the short week. We had Monday off, and typically we don't kick on Sunday. So, he didn't kick Sunday, didn't kick Monday, a little bit on Tuesday, then a little bit on Wednesday, and then here we are at the game. So he had limited reps last week, and I thought his focus has been extremely good, and he's going to have to continue that for us to be successful, and I think he will.
The kicking game improves all the way around. Kyle Corbett averaging 49 yards a kick. Talk about how that makes a difference.
Yeah, that's huge as well. He responded well. Just kind of gave the job to him after the App game, and he responded well. He's hit some good punts and handled some bad snaps. I wasn't pleased with Brian during the game, our long snapper. He didn't snap the ball extremely well, and I think it might have taken Kyle's mind off the kicking piece of it because he had to really work hard to field the ball. But Kyle's handled it really well. He's a great kid, and as is Jackson. But those are tough decisions you got to make, and just felt like Kyle is in a little bit better groove right now. So we went with him, and he played well in the game.
He's also kind of taken that little Arthur Hart way of kicking with the rugby style, but he's also boomed some as well.
Yeah, we're always have to move the pocket a little bit and try to relieve some of that, get the ball. That first punt was really big. It took the nice bounce over their head, and we ended up pinning them inside the 10 down there, which was big, and the guys did a nice job covering it. We put some of our starters back on the punt team. You saw Ben DeLuke in there and Tyriq and Alex Highsmith. So we had to make some adjustments with our punt team, and then of course Kyle punted it better. So we try to get him on the move a little bit and just change it up so it's not just the same all the time for him.
In the third quarter, the one score that we have is the 2-point conversion touchdown. You have Reynolds rolling out to the right. You get Quattlebaum coming back in the middle. That was a really nice pass.
Yeah, I think Chris handled it really well. It's one of those deals where the kids did a nice job of executing. You draw plays up, but they got to execute, once you get out there.
And Mark Quattlebaum's another one of the receivers you want to kind of get more involved.
He is. He's a guy that's made plays for us in the past, and we need to keep trying to get the ball to him. And like I said, we did on the fourth down. I thought it was a pretty good play call. And the guy from Old Dominion just made a fabulous play on the fourth down play. I mean, it was underthrown a little bit, but it was, Mark had his hands on it. He was pulling it in, and the guy stuck his arm in. It was a really good play by the defensive back. He didn't interfere with him, and just his timing of knocking the ball out was really nice.
When you said you watched the tape after the game, you saw the good and the bad. It's not always as good, not always as bad. What did you take that was on the positive side?
Well, I just like the way we run the ball. I thought when you go out and run the ball and have balance, third down was really good. I thought we made good decisions on third down and extended drives. I think that's the real critical piece. And then we made enough plays on defense. There's always a couple drives in there where you're disappointed in guys, but Foggy's play really, that play is, big play in the game. We ended up not getting points, but we put the ball down in the red zone down there and hit. I think it was on the 26 when he got the ball when the play finally ended. And those are huge plays. So we were coming up with big plays. We were positive on the turnover margin again. I didn't like Mark's decision on the punt return. Hey, look, guy kind of launched it on you. Just let it go. Don't worry about it. Come to the sideline. We'll get it adjusted. But so there was a lot of good things in the game. You play well. We had a chance to knock them out right there. I was really trying to go after them. That's why there's really no point in kicking the field goal. I mean, it's still a 2-score game if you make the field goal. So we just really tried to, end the game right there. And I thought it was a good call, and I thought our offense ran the right play. We didn't execute it, but it was a big play in the game for Foggy to get the ball and make the interception.
Coach Spencer's done a really good job with this unit, this defensive unit. Talk about some of the things that he can do, that group can do to limit some of the chunk plays we're seeing.
Well, we got to tackle better. I thought we try to make some tackles too high at times. I think about Quay, on the 1-3 and long. He really had the guy, and we missed the tackle, and then they get the first down. So I think lowering our target, we got to continue to talk to the guys about that, keeping our head out of the tackle. Tackling legs has got to be a critical thing. So I think that's the area that we've got to get better in defensively is, guys are making some good plays. We're stopping the run, which is huge. We got to continue on that track of stopping the run. I mean, you can make a team one-dimensional. That's what you're trying to do. And if a team comes out and rushes for 200 yards, you're in for a long day. So we want to continue to do that. But I think the area we can just always work on our tackling, becoming better tacklers, and don't give up big plays from that standpoint.
Niners now 2-1, coming off the win against Old Dominion, 28-25 last Thursday here at Richardson Stadium. We'll take a timeout, and if Aaron McAllister, our special player guest today, is here, we'll have AMAC coming up next, then bring Coach back and start talking about our next opponent, which comes up this week, our first road game, going to Amherst, Massachusetts to take on the UMASS Minutemen on Saturday afternoon. This is Gold Mine Live on the Charlotte IMG Sports Network.
It's the final days of the Ford Summer Sales Event. There are only a few days left to take advantage of great deals like 0% financing for 60 months on the built Ford Tough F-150. So hurry and save big on Ford, America's best-selling brand.
During the final days of the Ford Summer Sales Event, get 0 for 60 plus $2,800 bonus cash on select F-150s at your Carolina Ford dealer.
Welcome back to Gold Mine Live today, coming to you live from Richardson Stadium here in the press box. With campus being closed, we'll hopefully be back in the Student Union 1 week from today. Well, the Niners go on the road now to take on UMass on Saturday, first road game of the season after opening up with 3 straight home games and going 2-1 and now 1-0 in league play. This will be another non-league game playing UMass, who is a independent right now at the FBS level. Back with the head coach Brad Lambert. We'll have Aaron McAllister coming up shortly on the show. But coaches, we now turn our attention to UMass and a road game. First time you guys go on the road this season. It's going to be interesting going up there to take on a UMass team that just played a Conference USA team, which was FIU down in Miami. A lot of offense in that game.
Yeah, there was. The ball was moving around pretty good. UMass is a pretty good football team, and they got a real experienced quarterback. They got 2 quarterbacks that they play, and both of them are seniors. So you're not going to throw anything at them they hadn't seen. They've got a really, really big physical offensive line. Big guys that they try to really run the ball. They're pretty good pass protectors. I really like their running back. So they're going to try to establish the run. They've got a wide receiver that's extremely fast. He'll create issues for us. So they can really create big plays. So we're going to have to be on point defensively, to contain them and not give up big plays on the road. This will be our first time. We'll have some guys that hadn't traveled before, working out all those bugs. Trev and Chris Thompson, they always do a great job for us. So they'll have all that stuff in order. But it's always, your first road trip, you kind of worry about the guys and see how they're going to handle it. I think we're old enough and got enough veteran guys that hopefully everything goes off okay.
We'll be staying in Enfield, Connecticut. It's about 45 minutes outside of Amherst with the afternoon game, our first afternoon game this season, too, with a 3:30 kick. You look at the game against FIU. For UMass, you look at the score, it really isn't indicative to this Massachusetts team. They had a bad second quarter, gave up 28 points in the second quarter. But outside of that, the ball was moving up and down, as we said, and they were right in there with the Panthers.
They were, and I think the play that really kind of got them, they kicked kind of a onside kick, and it hit a guy. He just didn't field it, and it bounced off of him. So they went back-to-back touchdowns that really knocked a hole in them pretty good. FIU was running the ball pretty good. FIU, now we've seen them 2 weeks in a row. We followed them up with Old Dominion. We followed them up now with UMass. So they got a pretty good football team down there, and they've got a transfer quarterback in that's playing extremely well for them. So they can create some problems for people. And but UMass, the flip side of it, UMass is going up and down the field on people. They've had to play a tough Boston College team. Boston College is probably a top 25 team. They're a team that's beat Wake on Thursday night. They're undefeated. So that was a tough road game for them. They had to go down to Georgia and play Georgia Southern, who is, playing well right now. So they're trying to turn the corner at Georgia Southern. So they've had some tough situations to go into, but we're going into their house. So they'll be comfortable this week. And like I say, got a lot of experience back, played extremely well. I think they won 4 out of 6 games last year to finish the year. So, they're a team that's not going to quit. Coach Whipple's done a fabulous job there, and you're going to have to go in there and beat them. You're going to have to make plays, not make mistakes to win the game on the road.
Coach Whipple, you mentioned him. He was at UMass. They won back then a 1AA national championship, and he comes back to try and get the program going at the FBS level, and it's been a process. But last season they came back at home and found a way to beat App State. That was probably a signature win for them so far. And you mentioned this being their first time back at home. They're going to be hungry. They want a W. Yeah,
no doubt. And they're, like I said, they got a bunch of experienced guys. So. They know how to win. They did it last year. They, like I say, beat App at home last year, and they were successful. At the end of the season last year, they came out against Duquesne on fire. I mean, they went up down the field on Duquesne, and so they have a lot high expectations, and they want to go to bowl games, and they're now an independent, like you say, and so they need to win their home games. So they're going to be on point. I expect a very fired-up football team when we show up in Amherst.
Coach, is there anything you've seen from this UMass defense that is a point of emphasis, or do you continue on offense with Coach Montgomery to build on what we've seen the first 3 games?
I think we continue to build on what we've done, try to establish the line of scrimmage. They've got a real experienced linebacker who's making a lot of plays for him. He's a sixth-year guy. He's got another year or so. And they're pretty big. They got a big nose guard, pretty active at defensive end. So they can create some lost yardage plays for you. But we've got to continue doing what we've been doing, trying to establish the run, throw the ball off of that, keep Chris Reynolds clean, but get Benny and AMAC going. I think that's going to be the real key to the game.
Yeah, with some of the play action passes and getting Chris Reynolds out of the pocket, is that for visuals? Is it for him to be able to see the field better, or you just found his accuracy is really good out there?
Well, we like him on the move. He's a pretty good thrower on the move, and we did that a lot for ODU because we weren't sure about blocking their front. So we'll continue on some of that, and as we game plan and move forward, is it better to move him or leave him in the pocket? Because I don't really worry about him being in the pocket. We wanted to get him on the move because of ODU, but he is a very accurate passer. He has some funny arm slots every once in a while when he gets on the move. We've seen that since he's been here, whether that's in practice or in a game, but he's a very accurate passer on the move, so we want to continue that track.
Well, not a better time probably for you to go on the road coming off the win against Old Dominion, starting 2-1. You guys, trying to get over the hump and keep it going. This is a great way to start at 2-1 to go on that first road trip.
It is. You want to come out of this 3-game homestand with 2 or 3 wins, and we've done that. We knew App would be a difficult game. It's a really good football team, and we didn't play as well as we could have, but give them credit. They have a nice football team. So to go on the road with 2 wins, we got to go up here and be focused and close ranks and just say, hey, let's go up here and be focused and go one drive at a time, see if we can win this thing.
One thing we think we've seen so far through 3 games is each week getting better, doing different things and improving upon the previous week, and that says a lot.
Yeah, hopefully that's what you do. You're on an uptick, and you want to kind of, once you hit game 5 or 6, be at that max, and then finish out the year. We've got to continue to play without penalties, win the turnover margin, not have penalties. I think we only had 3 penalties in the game the other day, and I think that's real critical, is that you're not putting yourself behind the chains. You're not in 2nd and long, you're not in 1st and 20, you're not in 3rd and 15, and they're all manageable down in distances if you can keep the ball moving, and then you find a way to hit a big play every now and then, and that's the real critical thing offensively. And when you go on the road, it's a little tougher because you're in their environment, and so defensively you got to really stay focused on making sure your alignment, your assignment is correct, and then tackle well, and usually that's a recipe for playing well.
I'm going to take a break right now. We did get a little curveball thrown at us. AMAC unable to join us here today, but Tyriq Harris is here. He's at the stadium, and we're going to be talking to Tyriq Harris when we come back in just a moment as Goldmine Live continues. Coming up next, the Charlotte IMG Sports Network.
It's the final days of the Ford Summer Sales Event. There are only a few days left to take advantage of great deals like 0% financing for 60 months on the built Ford Tough F-150. So hurry and save big on Ford, America's best-selling brand.
During the final days of the Ford Summer Sales Event, get 0 for 60 plus $2,800 bonus cash on select F-150s at your Carolina Ford dealer.
The Student Athlete of the Week, sponsored by Ortho Carolina, the official team physician of your Charlotte 49ers.
This week's Ortho Carolina Student Athlete of the Week is Abby Stapleton. Stapleton is a sophomore goalkeeper on the women's soccer team from right here in Charlotte. She had a standout freshman year in 2017, winning the starting job and earning a spot on the Conference USA All-Freshman team. This season, she's made 26 saves for the 49ers, including a season-high 7 against Elon. Away from the field, Stapleton is a pre-communication studies major with a 3.6 GPA. Abby Stapleton, the Ortho Carolina Student Athlete of the Week.
This has been the Ortho Carolina Student Athlete of the Week, brought to you by Ortho Carolina, the official team physician of your Charlotte 49ers.
Welcome back to Goldmine Live with Al Wallace. I'm Matt Swarad. Coach Lambert stepping aside for a moment, and now joining us is Tyriq Harris, Niners defensive lineman. And Tyriq, great to see you on this Monday. I know it's a busy week. You guys get ready for your first road game, and we apologize for interrupting your lunch, but thanks so much for joining us.
Hey, no doubt. I'm glad to be here.
Tell us about the first 3 weeks. You finish up at home for 3 straight games and go 2-1. It's got to feel pretty good right now.
Yeah, it feels really good. Atmosphere in the locker room is really good. players, we're just really ready to get after it, you know. And we've had a really good preparation week and stuff like that, and we're going to keep going. I mean, we just want to keep the momentum going. That's a big motto going into this next week.
Tell us about last week. A lot of things thrown at you, but you guys certainly responded with a short week and got the big conference win against Old Dominion.
Yeah, for sure. It was just mainly just how the players responded. I mean, Coach Lambert told us, he came in, he was like, hey, we got a game tomorrow, so time to strap it up, you know. And everybody responded really well. Defense did, offense did. I mean, we watched as much film as we could, and, I mean, we just prepared the best we could, and then we just came out, played our best game, and that's about it.
Tyriq, talk about Coach Spencer and what he's brought to this defense. You guys look like you're really flying around out there and having a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's a big motto for us, is just running to the football, pursuing the football, just getting after the football. Like, he says a lot, like, turnovers are a big part of the game, which is very true. Defensively, we got to make turnovers. We got to run to the ball. I mean, that's been a real big focus in our practice and stuff. So if we don't get 3 turnovers during the practice, like, we have to run afterwards, just condition or whatever it may be. But but yeah, that's just the biggest thing, just run to the football. Just Coach Spencer, he has a lot of good schemes, a lot of new defenses and stuff that we build in, and we have a lot of good players too. Alex Highsmith, Anthony Butler, Jeff Gamble, a lot of good DBs, Ed Roll, Ben DeLuca, you know, and it's one heartbeat. That's one of our big mottos. It's just one family, like one defense, just going after the football, doing what we do, and just trusting in the guy next to you.
We saw you come off the line of scrimmage and play a little linebacker against App. How was that for you?
It was different. I mean, it was really, really fun. I enjoyed it. It brought me back to my high school days and stuff like that. But I mean, I just really enjoyed the moment. Just I got to play with my brothers out there. It was just a lot of fun.
When you look at this defense so far this year, one of the points of emphasis coming in, Tyriq, was getting better on third down, getting off the field, and getting some pressure on the quarterback. And after 3 weeks, you guys are certainly going in the right direction.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Alex Highsmith, Timmy Horn, Tyler Fain, you know, all them boys out there, they've just been balling, just going after Michael Holmes. So they just aggressive, and they're just relentless, and that's how they want to be, and that's how we got to be as a D-line. So I'm just glad that them boys are out there playing hard and just doing what they do. You know what I'm saying?
Where's the biggest improvement you've seen so far in this defense?
I'd probably say everywhere, honestly. I couldn't really pick one position in specific, but, like, I feel like overall just as a unit we've gotten better, and I feel like just the DBs, they've been more locked in with their eyes and just been playing better coverages and stuff like that, and linebackers, they've been pursuing the football, running after the football, D-line, holding their gaps and things like that. But I'd probably say that was our biggest problem last game, was just the fact that we had, like, gap control was a little bit of an issue, so I feel like that's where the D-line needs to work a little bit more. But besides that, I mean, I feel like our defense is really just starting to come together. I really like it.
Tyriq, being named one of 4 captains this year, tell me what that means to you and those guys voting, your peers.
It means the world to me, honestly. I couldn't do it without them boys out there. I mean, I just feel honored just to be able to lead them boys out there and just do what we do. And I mean, I'm not the only leader. I am one of the 4 captains, but I mean, we're not the only 4 leaders on our team. That's the best part about it all. And I mean, we just have a lot of great players on our team and a lot of leaders, and we just love it, and we just go out to play, and I just can't be more thankful for my teammates.
A lot more explosive, too, with the defense being able to get off the field. It's giving the ball back to the offense, and guys like Benny LeMay and Amac and the wide receivers and Chris Reynolds, your new quarterback, putting some long drives together. So it's not, you guys running back out on the field. You're getting some rest. They're putting points up. That's got to get you guys fired up, too. Yeah,
that's awesome. I love our offense. They carried this last game, and I really appreciate them boys for it. I mean, they just went out there, ball, did their thing, and we put the pressure on them, and they took it all, and they just outperformed. The old line did their best job too. I mean, running backs, wide receivers, quarterback, all of them they were just in sync that game, and I mean that's awesome. And I love them boys, and I'm glad them boys are balling like they should be.
Talking to Tyriq Harris here today on Gold Mine Live. And Tyriq, it's the first road game now for you guys after 3 at home, and it's always different going on the road and being one of the captains. What are some of the things you guys are talking about going to UMASS this week?
Just keeping the momentum going, just not focusing on like what we did bad in the last weeks. We're going to keep it in the back of our heads, but the biggest thing is just, we got a lot of momentum on our side. Just keep it going. Just don't stop. And don't become complacent with it either. Don't think that just because we won 2 games means that we're going to win all of them. You know what I'm saying? That's our goal and our expectation. But at the end of the day, we got to keep it in the back of our head. Like, we got to win every single game. And we just got to go out there, perform every week like we have been, and prepping every week like we have been, so that we can continue to be successful in this upcoming, games.
Well, you're really busy, not just playing football, of course, but in the classroom, biology major, a fantastic student. Tell us about the academic side for you. You take it very, very seriously.
Yeah, absolutely. That's one of my biggest things. I actually want to become a dentist once I graduate and stuff like that. So Right now, my academics is the main focus. I just got to be locked into my studies and stuff like that. And thankfully, I have a good teammate with me, Ben Jacks. He actually is another defensive end. He's a biology major, too. He keeps me on my toes and just really pushes me to be just as inclined as I am athletically as I am academically, you know?
You know, it's a lot of time taken up in the film room and practice. How do you manage it all? Because that is not an easy major.
Yeah, for sure. It's interesting. I just know when I wake up in the morning, I'm saying, okay, I got a packed day. No matter what I got to do, whether it's be whatever extra time I have, I'm going to be in the film room, be in treatment, I'm going to be studying, whatever the case may be. I know, like, if I'm just sitting there at any point in the day just not doing anything, I know something's probably wrong. So I just know I just got to stay busy and just keep my time occupied.
Tyriq, where does that drive come from to be great on the field and also off the field?
I think it really stems from my parents. My parents really put a really good work ethic in me growing up and stuff like that. And they just always taught me, like, hey, like, if you want to be successful in life, you got to go out and get it. Nobody's just going to give it to you. So that's been a really big motto in my life. So,
Tyriq, thanks so much, man, today. I really appreciate you stopping by here on a Monday, and have a great work week. Got a good week in class. We'll see you at UMASS on Saturday.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Appreciate y'all.
Tyriq joining us here on Gold Mine Live, back with Coach Lambert. A couple of breaks to get in. We'll get one right now, and back with more in a moment on the Charlotte IMG Sports Network.
It's the final days of the Ford Summer Sales Event. There are only a few days left to take advantage of great deals like 0% financing for 60 months on the built Ford Tough F-150. So hurry and save big on Ford, America's best-selling brand.
During the final days of the Ford Summer Sales Event, get 0 for 60 plus $2,800 bonus cash on select F-150s at your Carolina Ford dealer.
Welcome back to Gold Mine Live, back with head coach Brad Lambert. Want to thank Tyriq Harris for stopping by again, helping us out on the show here today. And coach, that defense, Tyriq, one of your captains, playing well this last week against Old Dominion. You got Anthony Butler making 11 tackles. You had Jeff Gemmel making 10. And Ben DeLuca chipping in with 6. You guys had a couple of interceptions, getting some pressure on the quarterback. Some good things.
Yeah, that's what we were out on. We were late coming back because we were talking about defensive end play and not turning your shoulders. And, Tyriq's really had a good year. Alex is having a good year so far. Highsmith at the defensive end spot. Critical spots, those guys can make a lot of plays for you. Juwan Foggy's 2 big plays, here in the first 3 games for us. But, yeah, a lot of guys making plays. But at the same time, there's always room to get a little bit better. And we could have made a few more tackles and, maybe gotten off the field a couple more times. And that's the point of emphasis with the guys, is understanding how those missed tackles can really affect the rest of the game. If we're off the field over on the sideline, defensively, that's a big difference in a game. So we've got to make those plays and make those tackles. But for the most part, the guys are doing a pretty good job.
Special teams, we talked about, the punting game with Kyle Corbett and the kicking game with Jonathan Cruz, but it's a whole combination of things. It's not just one standing out. They're all playing together well right now. Cruz already has 4 field goals of 40 yards or more. We didn't have one of those all last season. So as a coach, it puts you in a position where if you got to run him out there, this kid can get you some points. Yeah, it's really helps you with your decision process. It's not as hard a decision. You can get the points if you need them, and I think that's real critical. I've been real pleased with the coverage, like our kickoff team, their energy level, how hard they're running. I think that can be real demoralizing to another team. Just your energy level and how you approach special teams can really be big for you. And I've really been pleased with our kickoff team. Now, Jonathan's doing a great job kicking the ball, but the energy level with the guys running down there, our kickoff return, we're getting really close on that to busting one. We've had some good returns, but if we keep working at it, I think we can continue to improve in those areas.
Coach, adding some of those starters you talked about back to that special teams, has that improved the unit?
Yeah, I think it was critical for us on the punt team. We had some, backup guys trying to teach them how to be on the punt team and different things first couple of weeks. And last week we said, hey, let's put DeLuca back in there, Tyriq, Alex Highsmith, and I think it really helped us last week. Niners 2-1, 1-0 in league play, taking on UMASS this weekend in Amherst. The Niners have had some success on the road. We'll talk about that when we come back in a moment. Got one more break to get in. We'll get that right now. Come back and finish up the show here from Richardson Stadium today. Again, the pregame on Saturday starts at 2:30. The kick just after 3:30 from Amherst, Mass. The Niners taking on UMASS. This is the Charlotte IMG Sports Network.
It's the final days of the Ford Summer Sales Event. There are only a few days left to take advantage of great deals like 0% financing for 60 months on the built Ford Tough F-150. So hurry and save big on Ford, America's best-selling brand.
During the final days of the Ford Summer Sales Event, get 0 for 60 plus $2,800 bonus cash on select F-150s at your Carolina Ford dealer.
Welcome back to Gold Mine Live, our final segment here today with Al Wallace and Coach Lambert. I'm Matt Swarat. Thanks for tuning in. The Niners taking on UMass this weekend, and we kick it off just after 3:30 from Amherst, Massachusetts. First road game of the season, Niners against the Minutemen. And as we look at this game, now the Bojangles Boat Time Challenge. We've had it the last couple of years with Kevin Donnelly just going after a student, either with biscuits or sweet tea, and he almost killed himself choking on some chicken a couple of years ago, so we got rid of that. But we still have the Boat Time Challenge, Coach, and that's what is the biggest challenge for us going forward to beat UMass?
Well, I think, this week going on the road for the first time, the big challenge is going to be keeping their big play guys under control. They have a wide receiver, Andy Isabella, who's really, a kid out of Ohio that's a track guy that's extremely fast. He's set some national records in the 60 and different things. He's a very active, fast, big play football player for them, so that's going to be a challenge. And then stopping the run with their offensive line. So they're a huge offensive line experienced group. So I think the biggest challenge for us is limiting big plays on defense so we can, keep the game under control and not let them run the ball and then hit us with a big play with Isabella. I think is going to be a real challenge.
Look at Al sitting to your left there. Kevin's here, too, today. We should have a Boat Time Challenge. These two guys going up against each other.
Yeah, that'd be good, man. That'd be a lot of fun to watch.
As you look at this week, the Niners on defense have held opponents to 140 yards of rushing or less in the first three games. This is going to be a challenge this week because UMass can run the football.
They can. Their running back, Marquise Young, is really a really active player. He's their kickoff return guy. He's their tailback. They'll bring a couple more guys in as well, but they want to establish the run. The big tight ends, the 6'5", 250 tight ends, big offensive line. Coach Whipple wants to be able to run the ball and then get the ball to 5, get it to Isabella, whether it's sweeps, throwing screens, getting the ball on the perimeter with him. So they create some issues for you. They do a really nice job of trying to create big plays, but it all comes back to you got to control the running game, and I think that'll be a big challenge for us.
Coach, how do you combat some of that? Do you move that front? Are you moving linebackers? A lot of extra run-type blitzes on first and second down?
Yeah, you want to hit some inside run zone blitzes, but, for the most part is you got to play your base stuff and be gap sound so the run doesn't get out on you. It's when they create all what I call eye candy with motions and tight ends coming back, and they try to distract linebackers, and they get you out of your gap, and then a run spits on you. So I think being gap sound is really critical this week. Our guys have done a pretty good job of that, through 3 games, and so we're going to be real critical that we handle our gaps, each individual guy on defense to eliminate the big play. And then secondary-wise, you have to have good eye discipline because something will get away from you on the perimeter, and then all of a sudden you look up and 5's running free down the field. So, and we've had some of that this year. We've given up a couple of long passes. The one to App State was more missed tackles, but we've let a couple of guys free in the back end, so we've got to continue on that track. But it all starts with them being able to run the ball.
Is it a week-by-week situation for you guys when you look at how to get Hassan Klue involved in the offense? Maybe we saw a lot of Hassan against App, not so much against Old Dominion.
Yeah, no doubt. We want to get Hassan involved in the game, and so we got to be careful with him. Evan's not back yet, so we got to be careful with him. We can't do too much with him because I don't want to lose our backup quarterback. But we do need to get him involved in the game and put a little package in there. And each week it kind of sets itself up. So hopefully we'll be able to get that done this week.
How comfortable, Coach, are you with this running back rotation? We talked so much about AMAC and obviously Benny LeMay. Is it a series-by-series thing, or do you go with the hot hand?
Yeah, really it's been we let Benny take the first couple series, and then we throw AMAC in to give him a break. Depends on how many plays they play in that series, So if you have a long drive in the first 2 drives, then you really want to get Benny out, let AMAC get a series. But AMAC, he goes in and kind of gets hot, so you just leave him in there. The guy's really got a lot of patience running the ball and has done a pretty good job of seeing things and letting things develop. I've been really pleased with him, kind of letting things happen and then making plays. He's really done a nice job. But we want to give Benny the first couple of series and then put AMAC in and kind of go from there.
Yeah, we've seen that patience from both of those running backs where they're kind of hanging around back there and they're able to put their foot in the ground and go get it.
They really have done a nice job of that. And then we need to continue to throw the ball to them out of the backfield as well.
Coach, that's going to wrap it up for us here this week. Again, congratulations on the first conference win against Old Dominion, and good luck against UMass this week.
Well, thank you. We appreciate it.
Head coach Brad Lambert. We also want to thank Tyriq Harris for joining us here today. With Al Wallace, I'm Matt Swarad. Back in the studio, Matt present in Winston-Salem today. Thanks so much for tuning in, everybody. And don't forget, kickoff at 3:30. Our pregame show starts at 2:30 here on the Charlotte IMG Sports Network. So long, everybody.